Are we live?
We
We should be.
are
I'm ready.
live.
Instagram.
Are we live?
Coach P,
All
are you
right.
still
We
there? We
officially
lost the
live on
video.
Instagram too.
Ah,
Hello, ladies.
always gotta moisturize my situation. Anyway,
There you
hey,
go.
hey, 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 financial besties, welcome back to the channel. We are back with Melanin Money Mondays. But that title may change. We'll tell y'all more about that later. But we are the four financial coaches having candid conversations about real money matters that impact, inspire, and support Black women. And the topic for today is slaying your financial goals for 2024. But before we get into it, y'all know I got to do my quick introduction. If you're new to me, hey girl, hey. My name is Malika, and I'm a money coach and the founder of Fabulous Financials. I achieve financial independence by investing in the stock market. Then I quit my job, girl. And I've been living what I love ever since, which is currently slow traveling and coaching. And when I'm coaching, I help women learn to invest with ease and design your own path to financial independence so you can live whatever you love. So if that sounds like your vibe, I invite you to come on over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified when I release a new video or go live. So welcome. Let's see who my sisters are on the panel. Our beautiful sisters.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll go next. I'll introduce myself. Nice introduction, Coach Malika.
Thank you,
Hi.
sis.
Hi, with your smooth, mellow voice. Hello, everyone. My name is Chiante Jones, and I am a financial coach and the founder of Dollars and Change, where I teach women how to create more financial flexibility and build wealth by learning to better manage their day-to-day finances. So helping them to save more, pay off debt, create the space to start investing more and really building wealth. Got to have that foundation to build from. I left my 16-year federal career to take the leap out into entrepreneurship to pursue my dream of financial coaching. So about 2 years in now, and just on the journey. And I want to help other women to be able to do the same thing. Part of what helped me to do that was creating financial flexibility and freedom in my own life by paying down my debt and accumulating $1 million net worth and doing different things to position myself to be able to do this and take that chance to explore something different. So glad to be here.
Yes, Coach Chianti.
I'll go next. Hello, everyone. My name is Coach Emily Macklin. I am a financial coach and the founder of Think Legacy Financial Coaching. I am also the creator of the Savvy Steward financial coaching program, and I serve mid-career women who are great earners but aren't great managers. So if you are a six-figure earner and you find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, you might be asking questions like, how did I make all this money and I don't have anything to show for it? Or how did I make all this money and I have no idea where it went? Those are the questions that I help my clients get answers to. So I've been a coach for a total of 5 years. The last 2 years, I've been full-time, much like Chiante. I left a corporate career of 20 years in corporate finance. And so accounting is my background, but accounting is not my jam. Okay. So, just a different perspective of money with personal finance. So that is me. And I'm excited to be in another conversation this month. And I'm going to pass it to Coach B.
Hey, I'm so excited to be back with my friends.
We saved the best for last.
And hopefully we don't have any sound issues this week. If y'all listened to us last week, you watched me struggle at the end. But I am Coach B. I am the owner of Young, Rich, and Rooted. I'm also the owner of the Cream Collection, which is a line of cash budgeting wallets for women who want being able to stick to their budget, to look as good as it feels. I help women with ADHD manage money better. I help you Those people who feel like I keep finding myself in this cycle. I can't quite figure out what is wrong. I'm too smart for this. I don't know how I managed to get into this situation again. I help women understand the correlation between neurodivergence and how they need to manage their money. I help them gain better awareness around what's happening with their money, what's happening in their life, so that they can begin to put in systems in place that support them and not ones that cause them to self-sabotage. I aim to help women create FU money so that they can put themselves back at the top of their to-do list and choose what's best for them without fear, shame, or guilt. And if that sounds like you, if you feel like you like my vibe, follow me now at Young Rich Rooted. Follow all my friends on this panel, by the way, because you can't go wrong following us all anyway.
Exactly.
Follow me at Young Rich Rooted if you are neurodivergent like myself and you want to get to know me as a money coach.
Girl, you caught my attention with the FU money. I'm like, what you say?
Yes,
I need to
hire you. Winnable.
I love it.
I'm gonna stretch it out so YouTube don't strike this video.
Right. Keep it friendly.
I love it. So what are we talking about tonight, ladies?
Goals.
We're setting goals for 2024. We're helping these ladies reach their goals, set their goals and reach their goals in 2024.
Yes.
Slay their goals. Right.
Well, if you are in the comments, what are your goals for 2024?
Yes, drop them.
Have you thought about your goals for 2024? Your financial goals specifically? What are you working on this year? Let us know.
I'd love to highlight them. And if you have questions about your goals, put those in the comments too. Because you got 4 financial coaches on here for $3.99. If you don't ask your questions, I don't know what to tell you.
$3.99. Yes. I was watching another financial coach, and he said when he posts his content on YouTube, that's his community service. Because he give away all the value for free. It's free $3.99.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. So I'm curious, ladies, have you guys started working on your goals? How do you feel around this time of the year with goal setting?
Yeah. I always ease into the new year. Like I did do some planning at the end of last year, especially with, being a business owner, you do got to think a little bit about what you're trying to do next year, maybe set some revenue goals, those type of things. But for certain things, I feel like I'm always trying to do something. So I don't necessarily wait till the beginning of the year to do it. So, I'm always trying to eat healthy. I'm always trying to get my workout routine together. This is like an ongoing thing for me. So like, I don't have to wait for the new year, like to necessarily start that. But I have found that at least over the last few years, I've kind of eased more into the new year where it may not be like, here are my concrete goals right away. I kind of have some loose goals and I tighten them up a little bit but it takes me a little time to do that. So if you came into the new year and you don't have your exact goals laid out, it's okay. It's okay that you don't.
I'm curious, do you guys find it easier, like because we work in finance, right? I'm wondering, is it easier for you to set business and financial goals than it is for you to set like personal goals for yourself?
Easier? Like I do think with business, like you are thinking about, okay, what revenue do I want to make next year? Or you kind of have like how many clients do I want to have next year? I think you do some of that just as natural planning, and kind of preparation going into a new year. I would say for me this past year, like at the end of last year, that was more of the focus rather than personal goals. I would say that was definitely more where I spent my time thinking about that and planning versus on the personal side. Like on the personal side, it was more continuation of what I had already been doing. So it wasn't like a strong personal goal that I had, at least not for this year.
I'll say for me, I think in the past couple of years, most of my goals have been really business driven because it's been 2 years of full-time entrepreneurship, doing things that I didn't, do before. And while I had some financial goals, I had to put those on hold, but I really have been just really driven on business goals. But I will say this year feels really different. Y'all, I got all my goals plotted. I have plotted not only business goals, I have plotted personal goals, as well in various categories like relationship,
Nice.
faith, finance, all of the things. And I'm really feeling, especially from a business perspective, there's a level of knowledge and autonomy that I'm bringing into this year that I don't think I've ever brought into any business year before. And I've learned a lot over the last couple of years. And so I'm setting goals from a place of just knowing what my next steps in business are, opposed to just having goals because I need to have goals and because it's the beginning of the year. Like, I feel like in many years, you feel like you just should have goals, right? So that's why I just think it's from a different place of just knowledge and autonomy in business that I hadn't had before. That's got me excited about setting goals and really clear on what it is I want to accomplish. Just being very clear on what I want to accomplish has really made me excited about this process this year.
And I think that's important to note, Emily, because like it could look different from year to year, right? It doesn't have to be like, this is my exact process I use every year. Like some people have that laid out, but like where you are in your life, where you are in your career, where you are with different areas of your life may dictate what that looks like for you in a particular year. So that's good to share that this year looked different than some prior years have looked for you.
What about you, Coach Malika? How is it easier, the personal versus financial professional goals to set?
Setting the goals, they're no different because I used to be very, very goal oriented, very future focused, very driven to accomplish and do and achieve the next thing. Setting the goals about the same, whether it's personal or financial. Achieving the goal, that's different.
That's a good point.
I've been trying to lose weight for about 20 years now.
That's why I said they keep rolling, they roll over, right? Certain ones just keep rolling over. It's an ongoing thing.
Listen, what kind of goals are we talking about here? Financial independence was easy. But going to the gym 4 times a week, that's a different conversation.
The struggle.
Ongoing goal.
The struggle.
I've been rolling over the same goal every year. I'm going to lose 15 pounds.
Y'all don't let Malika be alone. I know she ain't the only one because I know I'm with her.
Yeah. Trying to work on those 3-4 days a week. That's like a rolling, ongoing goal. I get there sometimes, and then it just kind of fall off, and I got to roll it back again.
Right.
Lord.
So it depends on which part of the goal you're talking about. Setting it, I could set any goal. My goals would be real smart and real specific. You know how they teach us how to do SMART goals in B school? Yeah, my goals be real smart.
We have somebody that in the comments say that I roll over goals all the time. Yes, we all do.
Rolling over my language. That's a new term. We're rolling over goals.
Exactly. We're doing a goal rollover this year.
You know what's so interesting to your point is, right? Like you can set SMART goals and it still not work for you because for certain things in your life, you need a coach to help you. Like I know myself, I'm more likely to do it with accountability, with that somebody hyping me up, somebody called like you coming today. Like I know that I need that. I'm gonna need that all my life. I'm never going to outgrow that. There's never going to be a point where I need that for myself. I've accepted myself. I need a coach. I need a hype man in the gym because I don't want to be here. Okay. Right. And no amount of books I'm going to read no matter goal setting is going to magically make me want to be here. I will never want to be here. So I need a coach. Some people are going to be like that with their money. And that's why we're here. They're going to set goals. They're going to have a really strong plan for themselves, but they're not going to reach their goals because they haven't accepted that they don't like this. And they need a coach. They need somebody who is going to hold them accountable and make them show up for themselves every week. And I think like how we feel about the gym is how they feel about budgeting. And that's okay.
It's okay, right? That's good, Coach B, because like if you do find yourself where you have like continuously have this rollover goal, like that may be a sign that that's an area where you can use some support, right? Like if you have been trying something over and over again, you're not getting the traction you want, or you get on and fall off, that is a clear sign that may be an area to get some support in. So Coach B, you're right. Get that trainer, get that money coach, get, the career coach, whatever it is, that where the area where you've not been making the progress that you want to make, like get support in that area. It's okay to get help, y'all.
Right.
That's a good point. And I think it's okay to not have a goal in an area too.
Yes.
If it's, if it's not something that you obviously are not dedicating the time or the effort to in past, it might be time to just take it off the list for right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes our focus can go to specific areas. There was a time where I focused on fitness, and I had a fitness coach, and I'm like you, Coach B. I didn't even put it on there this year because I need to have a coach, in the gym with me or virtually. That's how I do the best when it comes to fitness. So, I mean, I'm gonna try, but I'm not gonna hold myself accountable to nothing when it comes to that area.
Yeah, that area.
And so
yeah.
if it's not something if you just put it on there to just have something and you're not gonna put a good effort toward it, don't disappoint yourself like that, or don't put it on there just to have something on there
because it looks good or sounds good,
okay.
right?
Because
Yeah.
it looks good, sounds good, exactly.
Yeah.
And
So-
I really feel like I'm just thinking back to the corporate process, to the corporate goal setting process. I spent 20 years in corporate. That I wish, I feel like now a lot of it was just lip service, to be honest. And I wish I'd have kind of had that viewpoint. There's things that you have to have on there, but then some of it was just, I don't know, fluff to say you're working on something just because you got to have some goals, right? But I think you got to be okay with being honest with how true you're going to be to yourself when it comes to the things that you want to accomplish.
Let's answer some questions in the chat. Can you highlight that question from Raven Kelly?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to.
Can you, when you're asking questions, can you put a Q in front of your question so it'll be easier to find? Raven's question is at 710. Yeah. So how many goals are too many goals? That's
I
a
love
good question.
this question. Because I do think, to a point, sometimes you just are afraid to take a goal off your list because it feels like quitting, and you do need to exercise. Like sometimes it's a distraction having all these things up here. And it's not to say you can't put them on. Like I have like what I call my brain dump. And these are all the things I want to do, all the ideas I had, just so that my ADHD brain can feel satisfied with and not feel like it needs to hold on to them. But I have to look at my list and ask my one thing, because I need to figure out, like, if I don't get anything else accomplished this entire year, what is going to give me the most satisfaction? What is going to move me the furthest along? What is going to take the most stress off of me? And I kind of use that as my gauge to figure out where to put the 80% of my energy. So I'm not putting on a bunch of things that won't have, very much meaning for me. So I think, like, I don't know if there's a specific number for anybody, especially depending on how you set goals, whether or not you set like a goal for your health, the goal for your spiritual. I think somebody mentioned in here, like the spiritual life goal there, depending on how you set your goals, you might have a one thing for each of those areas. And I kind of like that. Even with all of those things, I think to myself, like, what's the one thing that's like keeping me up at night, that's just weighing on me, that I feel like if I make some progress in this goal, it's really going to change my life. And that's me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so what you're speaking to, B, is like prioritizing your goals, right? Like, and so I like to think about like getting the most bang for your buck. What are the goals that, like, sometimes you can accomplish one goal and it'll help to lay the foundation or set it up for the next goals to be taken care of too, right? So like, what is like the broadest thing that you can do that'll have the most impact, which is what you're talking about, where you want to spend that most of your time and prioritize, because most of our stuff is interrelated, like the different areas of our life. So even if you're setting goals in different areas, spirituality, relationships, career, whatever, like they do impact one another. So what is a goal that you can prioritize as being like, this is the top goal, or the one of the primary ones I want to focus on, and I know that it'll have the biggest impact maybe in multiple areas of my life. And so that's kind of what you were speaking to, B, is like prioritizing. I think for me, like when I think about setting goals, I don't have like a set number, but I think it is important to be careful not to overwhelm yourself, because normally when you're doing it, especially if it's a goal that requires you to change habits, change behaviors, do something new, like trying to do a lot too much at one time, it's almost like you're setting yourself up to not succeed if you're trying to do habits. Forming new habits, it takes a lot of effort, takes some time and stuff like that. So you can like almost wear yourself out trying to do too many things at one time. So prioritizing is a big part of it. Like which ones are the most important, are going to have the most impact.
Gosh, the intensity of the goal. That's a good point. How much is going to be required of you to make this shift? If it's like my goal is to get to work on time, is that different than
That's a goal?
Wait a minute.
Listen.
Wait, what?
That's a goal.
That's for me. Thankfully, I get to work from home now, so
that's a goal, B.
But no, I agree time to get to the other room.
I agree with both of you in terms of prioritizing your goal.
Prep versus my goal is to drink water every day. Like how, what's required to drink water every day. The accessibility of water is right. Like it's in your house. You don't go to do a whole lot compared to how much you have to do to say, I'm going to meal prep. I got to go buy groceries. I've got to make sure I have got content. So you got to think about how much effort goes into it. So I like that thought process. Malika, I feel like you were going to say something too.
Oh, I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I know. That's why I'm throwing it back at you.
Oh, okay. In my opinion, I think it depends on the individual. I think there are some people that can juggle multiple balls and they can do it successfully, and some people cannot, and those people should prioritize. But I would say first, look at your previous years. Did you have multiple goals last year? And if so, how many of those goals did you accomplish? Are you the type of person that can juggle multiple things? If you can and you do it successfully, then there is no limit to how many goals are too many or how many you should have. You juggle as many as you can. On the flip side, if you're like me, I am not one of those extraordinary people that can juggle multiple things at the same time. If I tried, I would most likely fail at all of them because I would accomplish nothing. So for me, I find that when I focus on too many goals, and for me, too many is more than one. When I focus on too many goals, I spread myself thin, and I'm trying to split my time, my effort, and my mental space. And when I do that, I don't accomplish anything, or it'll slow down my progress and it'll take longer to accomplish the thing. So back to Coach B's point of prioritizing the goal, I find when I prioritize based on what's important to me, based on that thing, like B said, that keeps me up at night, that thing where if I were to accomplish it, it would change my life. Like, for example, achieving financial independence. I knew that would change my life. So I have tunnel vision on one goal and focus on that one goal. Not to say that the other goals aren't important, because this one goal will change my life, or it'll either relieve some amount of stress that keeps me up at night. If I give everything I have to that one goal, I can accomplish it faster. It gets all of my energy, all of my attention. And then when it's done, and I can woosah, exhale. And once that first priority is done, then I focus on the second priority. Once that second priority is done, then I focus on the third priority. And you build that momentum, and it helps you to self-motivate, and it helps you to stay on track because you see the progress that you're making faster. And that's only possible if you have that focus on that one priority.
I love that.
I have a question for you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Emily. Go ahead and share your thoughts.
No, I was just going to piggyback on that thought and say we need to let go of the thought that we got to go full force with everything on day one too. It might be a staggered effort. Like she's saying, prioritizing that one thing first, do that, build that momentum, then go to the next or second
and
quarter.
It may not take you all year.
Exactly. All of them may not take all year.
Focus on one thing, you may be able to accomplish that one thing by March. Boom, I'm done. I feel great. Then in April, you can focus on priority 2. So yeah.
Or by Saturday. That's that makes me think about like a lot of this, the conversation that we're having is about radical like self-awareness, having an awareness of yourself, your style, what works for you. And I think this is one of the reasons why I don't believe in people in the finance community who believe there's like a cookie cutter approach to anything, that there's one way to do anything, because money is so personal. Beyond your actual numbers is personal, is your person is unique. So the way you need to do things is incredibly unique. So for example, I coach people with ADHD. The way they need to organize, the way they need to handle money is completely different than a neurotypical person. So I think like with goal setting, if you have an awareness that for you, so for example, with somebody who is ADHD, we need a dopamine. We have dopamine deficiencies. We need dopamine hits. And so that's how you can get drugged into social media, scrolling, because it's fulfilling those things, right? If you know that you need a quick win in order for you to be motivated, you might not start off focusing on your big goal, because for us, that can be overwhelming. It can lead to procrastination, and it'll set us up for failure. Knowing, having the self-awareness of what motivates you and how you need to function tells me, I know I need to give myself a quick win. And my quick win can be created inside of a big goal. I can take a big goal and break it down into tiny goals so that I can give myself the feeling of winning, or the feeling of creating a goal. In fact, I feel like that's the most effective way to reach your goal, is to give yourself small wins within that goal along the way. Is to not make it pass or fail. Like if you don't get it all by the end of the year, now you failed. No. If you've reached 1/10 of the goal and you set that 10th mark as a goal, then you feel like, hey, I reached 7 out of my 10 goals this year. That feels way better than setting one big goal, and if you don't get to the finish line, you just didn't do it that year. That's my thought. It's just, a lot of it is about self-awareness and figuring out what you need to take action, figuring out what you care about, thinking about how you work. To Malika's point about, whether or not you can multitask, whether or not you should multitask. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I had a boss that told me a long time ago, just because you can do all these jobs in this department doesn't mean best use of your time, your intelligence. Save that stuff for the other people. Do the work that only you can do. And I think that's how you have to think about your goals as well.
Yeah.
I want to come back to the other thought about personal goals and financial goals. And this is a question I had in mind too. Do you categorize your goals, financial, health, business, spiritual? And B, one of the questions that you asked, is it easier to establish the financial goals versus the personal goals? Some financial goals may have a personal element that also needs to be addressed in order to achieve that financial goal, right? Like when I first started my coaching business, and this is a transparent moment. All of you, my panel sisters, already know this about me. Like my first year in business, I didn't think I would be a good coach. I questioned my ability to coach. So I had a lot of imposter syndrome, right? So those were some personal issues I had to work through, with my confidence. And even though people were telling me, oh, Malika, you're so good at it, you've helped me before, I didn't believe it, right? So I had to prioritize some personal goals in order to meet my business financial revenue goals. So that year, I had to focus on both at the same time, but they fed each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so good. I'm glad you said that, because when I asked the question, I was thinking about myself. I was thinking it was easier for me to set business and financial goals initially, because I didn't know what I needed to focus on myself. I wasn't quite ready to look in the mirror, and I didn't realize all the ways I didn't love myself. And when I started to see that and go through therapy, I started to see all the ways my financial journey could have been faster, easier if I had done that work first. Because what I noticed was I wasn't applying for jobs, to your point about imposter syndrome, because I was telling myself I wasn't qualified. I was running myself into the ground and not asking for more, because I felt like, we got to earn that. You know how they say for Black people, we got to work twice as hard to get half as much. And I was working 3 times as hard to get the same exact pay. And when I think about the work I had to do on myself, in order to get to a point where now I feel unavoidable, and I don't mind going in and saying, I'm bringing you value just like you giving me. If I'm not coming here just for this paycheck, you're getting value from me. I had to do that work. But when I first started, I didn't even know that that was the work that needed to be done. I wasn't aware. So I think like the power of setting your personal for me, setting personal goals lies in how can I get to know myself well enough so that I can make sure I'm putting the right things in place for myself, to make sure I am advocating for myself, to make sure I'm getting the most out of these experiences. And I was never curious about it that way. And I think part of it is because on a surface level, I felt like I loved myself. On a surface level, I felt like I knew myself. And I think the more we explore it, like we hit a little bit of pain when we realize, oh, like you don't realize you have imposter syndrome until you try to do something that scares you.
A little bit out
there. And that's like, oh, I don't know how that feels.
Because look, let's be clear. Imposter syndrome and confidence are not the same thing. I've always been very confident.
Right. It's like you back away from that emotion so you don't explore it more. So now I'm leaning into some of these emotions and I'm getting to a place where I'm curious about them. So I can set my goals around the parts of me that I'm like, why is this Bobby? Why aren't you willing? Why aren't you shooting your shot? Like, what about this? Why are you afraid to speak up? Why is this your goal? Like, why are you limiting yourself right here? Are you limiting yourself right here? Why do you feel like you have to do it that way? And I start realizing that to Malika's point, my professional goals and my personal goals intermingle because you can never remove yourself from any of it. You can't remove yourself from your spiritual goals. You can't remove yourself from your financial goals. You can't remove yourself from your career goals. You are in all of it. So I think like if there's a goal that you focus on the most every year, it is the you part, because I think when you focus on the you part, the other things indirectly end up being affected regardless.
It's like what I was saying earlier, where like the areas, even if you set your goals in different areas, like the different categories, they're interrelated. We don't live our lives in a silo, right? We, like you said, we are in all of the areas of our lives. So you doing one thing in one area, even if that's not what say you're working on fitness, certain disciplines, certain personal development that happens in that process of who you become and doing that work, you then are able to apply that in other areas. So I tell this all the time to clients when it comes to working on your money. Yes, we're working on your money, but the who you become in the process of doing the work on your finances are going to impact other areas of your life. You have developed new skills, you develop new mindset, all of that spreads. Like it doesn't just stay with money. It then spreads out and has a far-reaching impact and a ripple effect on other areas of your life as well. So it definitely is intertwined. And speaking of entrepreneurship, that is a personal development journey in itself. So you are definitely going to be doing a lot of goals and work to do as you go through that process. So anybody out there who has entrepreneurial aspirations, get ready for that ride. And it's going to be a lot different and more than you probably expected, because stuff comes up that you didn't even know was there until you start trying to do it.
It's not for lightweights. It's a crash course.
I don't even think I had the level of self-awareness until I became an entrepreneur. I didn't even have it, You
don't even know. You don't even know it's work that you need to do. Like you're like, oh, I thought I was good in that area until I start trying to do this. So that's just warning for anybody that's out there with those type of goals. It goes hand in hand.
It pushes you to do so many things that you don't have to do in like setting boundaries, advocate. You know what I mean? Like you have to deal with things like, what people's expectations are, their assumptions about you in business. There's so many different things that you have to learn to communicate that you didn't always have to communicate when you were in the 9-to-5 job, not to mention the actual imposter syndrome, the time management, the self-motivation. Like there's so many different little elements that you end up, it is like a crash course in personal development, becoming an entrepreneur, but it is one of the greatest experiences that I've had.
But even with everything that you just said, even if that person isn't an entrepreneur, I can see how all of those personal elements can affect their personal finances. Right? If you're unorganized, if you lack confidence, like you said, you won't apply for that job to increase your salary. If you're unorganized and you don't have a system to track your expenses or to manage your money, you don't know where your money is going. So all of those personal things that you mentioned, it can affect your business as well as your personal finances. So the issue that I was struggling with, the imposter syndrome, I won't say I'm completely on the other side of that, but as I addressed it and started overcoming it, it helped me to show up better in my business. And it also helped me to command certain rates because I knew I was delivering the value and seeing the results from my clients. So I was able to prove to myself, girl, you could do this. Right. But I had to address I had to do that inner work first. And then it showed up in the money parts too. Yeah.
You know, I think the other piece is that we, in almost any other profession, like, you know, like if our profession was like cake makers, we wouldn't expect to have business acumen. We wouldn't expect, there's a lot of things that we would know that I know how to bake a cake. And I think when anybody starts a business, you start the business because you're really good at the trade. And it's easy to forget the other pieces of the business that also you have to develop. And so what can happen is, let's say we're not really good at sales and marketing. We can make that mean we're not good at financial coaching, which is two totally different things. The ability to acquire a client is not the same thing as being able to coach them through their daily money management. But it's hard to not have that imposter syndrome creep in and say, maybe I'm just not built for this. Maybe I'm not good for this, when really you're just the best kept secret. And I think that is the part, like, where those personal developments is that to not take success or failure too personal. And it's not a reflection of your capacity. There may be an issue in some other part of your business that you don't understand and you're not even supposed to be doing, because in real life, if your business was fully established, you'd have people doing those roles. But when you're starting a business, you're the website designer, you're the assistant scheduler, you're the admin putting in your tech support, your sales, you're your accountant and bookkeeper, you're your graphic designer, you're the product development, you're all these things. But what you really are in our world is we're financial coaches. But those other areas that we're trying to kind of like be scrappy and learn along the way can make you feel like you're not really good at it. And I imagine that other people may experience this in their own way, in their own field, and they need to look at it like, am I failing because I'm bad at what I do? Or am I failing because I'm not considering these other parts of my life that are affecting my ability to work towards this goal effectively? Like, am I thinking about my life out of context?
I want to take some more questions from the.
Yes, use those financial coaching skills and answer Lori James's question. She's planning to retire in 2 years, y'all. What should she prioritize?
Well, Malika, I think you should kick this one off because you have a fire, which for y'all who don't know means financially independent, retire early.
Yes. If I were 2 years out from retirement, sometimes I don't have an answer. I have a question to the question.
Yeah.
So my question would be, how's your 401k and your IRA looking? Do you have a 401k and an IRA? Lori James, are you still with us? And if so, if you don't, then I will have a follow-up question. Why not? But I'm going to assume that you do. If I were in your shoes 2 years out from retirement and I had a 401k and an IRA, I would focus on maxing those out, padding those accounts as much as possible, because once you leave your employer, you won't have access to that 401k anymore. So that's what I would do. And that's actually what I did do 2 years out from walking away from my career before I retired early. So I would max out those accounts as much as possible. I think in 2024, the maximum you can put in an IRA, if you're over 50 or over, I'm assuming you are because you're about to retire, is $8,000. And for your 401k, I think the maximum you can put in is 20.
Close to 21,000.
Is it?
Yeah, one of them just went up by like a little bit this year.
Yeah, I think they both went up a little bit.
Yeah, over 50.
This brings up a good point, though. Like where you said, like a lot of times when people want to ask for financial guidance or advice, well, and it's really hard just to give it off the cuff, y'all, like without having context of somebody's personal situation. So,
Yeah.
honestly,
The
Lori,
2024 limit is $23,000. So if I were in your shoes, a quick and dirty answer I could give would be maxing out those retirement accounts. Stuff those accounts and ride the wave in the stock market as much as you can, as long as you can, so that when you need that money on the other side, you've made those money babies, as I say, that can take care of you in retirement.
I think I would add to that is if you're looking to retire in about 2 years, get clear on what your current financial standing is, what your current lifestyle is right now, what your potential lifestyle is going to look like, and understanding what does that financially cost you.
Yep.
And determining, is there a gap that you need to work on in those 2 years to be able to live the lifestyle that you want to live in 2 years? Meaning, is there any debt that you need to pay off? Are you retiring before the 59 and a half or the 65? So is there a bridge account that you need to have? And again, this goes back to what Shiante is saying, understanding, we need to have these personal questions really guide what you should be focusing on. But just, I think at a high level, understanding your current lifestyle, your current expenses, what your lifestyle will look like after retirement, and then what it will financially cost you to live that lifestyle, understanding what your sources of income are and will be in retirement. And then again, if there's a gap, what do I need to do in those 2 years to close the gap between the two?
And I think a very practical thing that you can do is to test it out. Is if you have your retirement and you're saying, I'm going to get X amount of dollars, I'm going to draw down X amount of dollars per month. I don't need to live this lifestyle that I was living when I was working, to see what that looks and feels like. Give you an opportunity to experience the retirement structure that you've put in place, to see, does this really work for me, or is this just in my head? Like, I to see if it actually works for you, is to give yourself a little bit of a dry run. I don't know how long, Malika, when you were getting ready to retire, did you do a dry run? Would you recommend an amount of time that somebody would try it? Like, in hindsight, if you didn't, would you have done a trial?
I don't understand what you mean by a trial. What do you mean?
Like,
a trial retirement?
Living off of your ideal retirement budget. Like, if you're, sometimes people's their working budget looks different than their expected retirement budget, and they think like, I only need this much. Okay, let's
try it out and see if you really, how does that feel?
Yeah, let's see how you feel.
Oh, that's a good point. No, I didn't do a trial.
I think it's a no from Malika.
No, I didn't do a trial run. But yeah, all of you ladies make a good point. And one thing I want to highlight from this conversation, just answering that one question, you have 4 different financial coaches on the screen. We all focus on different things and serve a different type of demographic and ideal client. So we all have a completely different perspective on how to answer that question. And that's why I love the idea of this panel, because you get to hear different perspectives on the same question, and maybe one of our responses or one of our perspectives or one of our ideas may resonate with you and may fit your life, because we don't know any of you personally. We don't have enough context about your background to be able to give you a really informed response. But the off the cuff 30-second response, you get 4 different responses. Take what you need and leave the rest on the table.
Which is one of the benefits of having a financial coach, right? Like, you can read books, listen to podcasts, even listen to this conversation here, but like, there's nothing like getting that personalized attention for your specific situation, not only financially, but you personally, like your own personal desires and what you want, and like being able to structure your finances to support that. That's the benefit of financial coaching, right? And having that personalized attention. Like, no more marketing to the masses, right? From financial gurus. Like, get your personalized advice about what's best for you in your specific situation.
Right. Because had I read a book that said, take a trial run and test your retirement using how much money you think you'll have in retirement, I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And not to say that device out there cannot be used to help you get, start making progress and everything,
Right.
but there gets to a point where, like, when you've kind of done some of the basic stuff, or if you're struggling to do the basic stuff, right?
Right. Right. But with financial coaching, because you have that personalized, tailored attention, and that advice is based on the full context of who you are, not just the money, not just the dollars and cents, that advice may be very applicable to you and your circumstances. It's just not applicable to me. So it's really hard taking, generic things that you get off of social media or that you read in a book, that is the true value of financial coaching, getting that tailored input that's specific for you.
Yeah. And I love that a little bit. I like to think about, like, we always talk about setting financial goals. I like to think about them as life goals, right? Like, you have a life goal. There's something that you're trying to accomplish. There's a vision you have for your life or something that you want to do. And most of those things have a financial aspect to them, but really the money is the resource that you're using to accomplish a life goal, right? So, like, yes, we might want to save more. Yes, we might want to pay off debt. You want to invest, but what's your reason behind that? That's really the goal, right? That's really what you're trying to get after. And you're setting some financial things that need to happen to make those life goals happen. So I don't think about them as being completely separate. They go hand in hand. Your life goals are your financial goals support your life goals.
I always say that to my clients too. Life goals are financial goals.
Yes.
So I'm looking at some more of these questions up here. I'm putting them on the board. Hey, ladies, I know that it's an issue if some of us did not do what we should have been doing, contributing to our 401k and IRA. I know how, why, but help. This is a good point. A lot of times, for some people, they simply just didn't know. They didn't understand what a 401k, just on the most basic level. They just really had no idea what that plan was. And I don't think that employers do a good enough job of helping their employees understand. Like, I feel like human resources kind of rushes through open enrollment every year. So there's a lot of people who are not taking advantage, or they're starting really late in life. But
hey, Gail, can you do me a favor and add a little more context? The way I read it, it sounds like you're saying, like, I already know the how and the why, but help. What exactly is the question? Or am I reading it wrong?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it says I know how and why. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you need help with, sis?
Next question. Any tips for negotiating lower monthly rents during annual lease signing? Is rent even negotiable anymore in the U.S.?
That's a great question.
I would say that everything's negotiable, right?
I was going to, but that last part of her question, it's a very valid statement. Is rent even negotiable anymor? With the cost of housing the way it is, these
you can try to
owners, they are price gouging. I used to be one of those people that would negotiate my rent every single year. I would be in the group chat with my friends. Girl, you believe she sent me this notice? They trying to raise my rent $500. They crazy. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm coming back, girl. They ain't raising my rent at all. But the question is valid. Is that even possible anymore?
I think it kind of depends on what kind of housing market you're in. So, like you said, I think if you're in a seller's market, like, I feel like if there's scarcity in the housing market, it's going to be really hard to negotiate, because, quite frankly, well, you don't want to pay it. There's 20 other people on a wait list who want the place. They're less likely to negotiate. But if there's a lot of inventory and they know you can go anywhere else, they might be more open to negotiating with you. I've seen some people negotiate their rent just on the simple fact that they've done upgrades to the property. I've seen them negotiate based on the fact that to reduce when a landlord has to turn over a unit, they got to pay to do renovations. Depending on how long you've lived there, that could be really expensive, and they probably don't want to do it depending on what kind of landlord they are. That could be your point, your negotiation point, but it is a lot harder right now to negotiate lower rent, because there's just less inventory than there are people trying to find places, because the prices are out of control right now.
Yeah. So Nicole,
you can ask though. I guess that's one thing. Like, you can still ask the question. Yeah, you can still ask the question. Like, you don't just have to like resign yourself to the fact that, oh, they're not going to do anything. Like, let them tell you no. Just like B was saying about advocating for yourself. Let them tell you no. You can still ask and try to do it, even if it's less likely for it to happen now. Let them tell you no.
It's worth asking. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's worth asking. Yes, Crystalline.
There was a question. I think it was up further, B. I thought that it would be a good
one
question
from Bastine.
I thought it would be a good question for B.
What?
Your vision boards?
On your vision board.
Yes.
You know, I eyeballed that one and I just wanted to heart and love it. I do vision bank parties. Actually, my vision bank, I think if you guys were listening on the call last month, it was supposed to be on the 13th, but my uncle passed away, so I had to reschedule it to January 20th. So if you're in the Hampton Roads area, you still have time to get a ticket to the vision bank party. But I love doing vision boards. I put mine in the shadow box bank, and what I feel like a lot of people do wrong on their vision boards is they only have their end goal. We talked a little bit earlier about breaking down these goals into smaller milestones. And I feel like a vision board that has those micro steps on there is more inspiring because you're bound to reach some of those things on there. And you get that feeling of like, okay, I got 2 things on my board. You feel excited. But if it's like you're going to get to the goal at the very end and nothing's going to happen until the very end of your year, you're going to stick that in the back of your closet. Like it's just not going to be exciting to look at. So I think what's important to do on your vision board is to put down things that are a part of the process of reaching that goal. So things that I put on my vision board are, I put those milestone markers, but I put the people I need to know in order to reach those goals. I put the courses I might need to take to reach those goals. I put the money I need to make. Like I'm thinking about who I need to know, what resources, like what are the steps? Who are the people in my life that I need to have in my life to reach those goals? What are the habits I need to change? And I'm putting all of those little pieces on there so I can visibly see, so I don't forget the little things like, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to do more networking because that's how I'm gonna meet more friends in this industry. You can forget that was part of the process if you don't have those visual cues. Now, for me, again, ADHD money coach, I'm always trying to look for visual cues to make things easier for me. It's incredibly important for me because we are out of sight, out of mind people. Like this is why we got 100 tabs open on our computers. If you have ADHD, go ahead and tell me how many tabs you got open on your computer right now.
I'm starting to think I need to be one of your clients. like she's talking to me.
I'm starting to think, do I got ADHD? Because I got 88 tabs open.
She knows her clients. I'm like, wait a minute.
If we close it, we have a hard time with task switching. We're going to forget. So we do it as a hopefully we'll remember, right? And come back to it. That's the same reason why you will put those things on your vision boards so that it's a visual reminder so that when you get shiny object syndrome and you see another goal that you're excited about, you don't forget some of the pieces and the little things you need to do. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Her question was, what's your perspective? You gave her all the perspective. That was a great answer.
Coach B, I love that. I absolutely love it. That helped me. I may have to,
break it down.
Break it down. I love that. It kind of reminded me of Atomic Habits, if you guys have read that, where he talks about, really focus on the process or falling in love with the process. When you do that, the goal is going to happen. You're going to hit the goal. When you're doing, if you build the right habit and you build the right process, you build the right system, the goal is going to be inevitable. But I really like breaking it down like that on a vision board. I never thought about it.
I never heard of that either.
Link in the chat for anyone that may be interested in your event or the product that you create to create the vision.
Yes,
that you put together.
I will make sure I put it in the chat, and I'll make sure I come back to the comments even after the stream ends to make sure it doesn't go, because I know on like Instagram the comments kind of go away afterwards, but I'll make sure I drop them in there as well. If you are in the Hampton Roads area, Virginia, I want to see you in real life, and we can make vision banks together.
Do you stream it for virtual clients?
I think I might do that. Not this year. Well, not for this event on the 20th, but I may
Okay.
do one later on because I was thinking about doing quarterly vision bank parties because I set quarterly goals.
Okay.
And I think it's helpful to revisit those. And I have a lot of out-of-state clients and friends who are always jealous every year when they watch these parties and they can't come. I actually would love to be able to start shipping the banks out, but the frame is glass.
Are you saying bank?
Bank?
Bank.
B
It's like a shadow box. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to. I'm working on my 2024 one for the event. I like to make mine ahead of time so that way I can focus on the people making theirs while I'm there. But I'll show it to y'all. I promise. I'll post a picture of me making one. But it's basically instead of a shadow a board. Most of the time we get these big bulky boards and they're pretty and we love them, and then they get in the way and we stick them in the back of the closet. So I wanted to create something that I felt like people would be happy to display anywhere. It could sit on their desk at work or sit on their dresser at home, and it wouldn't be annoying. And it also forced them to make decisive decisions. I think when you got all this space, you're like $1 trillion goals. Right? But when you're into like an 8x10, you really have to think like you don't have a whole lot of space. What do you want to focus on this year? So it's that, and it's in a shadow box. So I've got these banks custom made, and I trademarked Vision Bank. That's why it's a term I always have to repeat because it's not something you've heard before, but it's designed so that you can save towards your goals. My thought process is I started my business doing the penny challenge, and it was an annoying thing I would hear people say, like, I'll start saving when I get a raise. I'll start saving like when I get my they were waiting for some like major thing to happen in their life for them to do it. And I wanted to demonstrate that it only takes one small change. And I took that very literally for you to get started. And I thought, like, you can find pennies in your purse, in your car, under your seat cushions. And so I did this penny challenge, and I started putting them in this bank with my board in the background. And I thought how powerful this was, because it wasn't about the dollar amount I saved by the end of the year. It was about the habit of thinking about saving every single day, building up that muscle memory about thinking about saving. But then what was more powerful was that every day I put a penny in, I had no choice but to look at my vision. So it kept it from being this board that is easy to forget to something I look at this vision every time I drop the penny. And I just started saying, pay myself every day. I put a penny in here. I'm paying it increases every day. I put pennies in here every day. I started adding that. Last year, I started paying myself both the pennies and a compliment. So I started affirming myself every day so I could develop the habit of speaking life into myself, because I needed to believe these things for this vision to manifest. So pay myself a penny, pay myself a compliment, and I see my vision every day. And that's the Vision Bank. I'll make sure that you guys can see that.
Love that. Thank you, Coach B, for sharing. I want to get back to Gail's comment. We asked her to give some context to her question, and she came back with some more information. And her comment is something that's so important that I want to share with the people that feel like they have to do all the things.
Let me know when
Gail
I land
first
on
came
it.
back by saying, I'm sorry?
Which comment were you referring to from Gail? I think it was.
It's several. So she's saying her response back to my question, what do you need help with? So her first comment was, I just started investing in the market after I retire, and thank goodness I do have a pension. What else can I do? The next comment says, I didn't know. I thought I had time. That's why I appreciate these conversations from you ladies. For all like myself, we just didn't know. But then the next comment says, the best thing I have going is that in a mad rush, I paid off my debt and I have a pension to go with Social Security. Okay. Gail, you are doing all the right things. You are already on track and doing a good job. I understand that you feel like you're behind. I understand you feel like there's so much you don't know. But I feel like we put that kind of pressure on ourselves because we assume that everyone else knew it longer, or everyone else has done so much more, or they have so much more, or we're reading this article, those articles that CNBC and CNN put out that says you should have this much by this age. Gail, you have paid off your debt, you have a pension, you will have Social Security, and you're investing in the stock market. You are doing all the things, and you're doing all the right things. And I don't know if you were looking for validation from a financial person to tell you that, but I want you to relieve the pressure that you're putting on yourself because you're on the right track. And your question, what else can I do? What you're already doing. Just continue to do what you're already doing and relieve the pressure on yourself because there's nothing else you need to be doing but what you're already doing. So give yourself a pat on your back. Congratulations, sis. Congratulations.
Y'all show her some love in the comments.
Anything else? Yes, show Gail some love in the comments.
Congratulations, Gail. And Gail, I would add to that, the root of this is comparison. You're comparing yourself to other people, those articles, like Malika said. Only compare yourself to the Gail who didn't know before. Compare yourself to that Gail. Don't compare yourself to anybody outside of yourself, because everybody else's situation is different. There's things you don't know that you're comparing, thinking you're not doing the right thing. But just compare yourself to that Gail who didn't know, because this Gail knows now.
Yeah,
So
she knows now. She knows now.
There was a comment that said that, right? One of her comments talked about that. She said, if you know today what you didn't yesterday, work it. And I think that's like a great way to wrap this up, y'all. Like if you know today what you didn't know yesterday, work it. Like for those who feel behind or like they're not
it's
sure.
It's at 7:55 p.m. B. One thing I can say and understand.
Oh yeah, the comment I'm referring to, 7:55.
I completely missed that.
Scroll back to 7:55 p.m.
I was looking at I think our IG's about to drop off. Let me find the time. 7:55.
Yeah. I agree, Shante. That's a good area to wrap this conversation up. Yeah.
You know today what you didn't know yesterday, work it, right?
And it's never too late. It's never too late to start.
Yeah.
Never too late.
Oh, well,
it's such an inspiration to me.
Slay your money goals, slay your life goals, slay your personal goals for this year. Hopefully you got some inspiration today, some tips and ideas of what you can do for this year. The main thing is like there's no one right way to set goals. Like you know yourself, right? Be honest with yourself so you can decide how many goals you want to set, which goals you want to set, prioritize what's most important to you. Don't just put those goals on there just because you feel like that's what you're supposed to have on there. Those rollover goals, do you need support for them? Okay.
You ain't rolling over the weight loss goal again?
Rollover goals, like, let's be honest here. Do you need some support? Okay, it's been the same goal rolling over.
If y'all don't know what she's talking about, go back, rewind this video, find us talking about rollover goals.
Break your bigger goals down into milestones so you can see that progress. Right, even on a vision board, you can put the milestones on a vision board. That was something new that Coach B shared with us. And check out her vision bank. And her that's an available product or like available to it. As a matter of fact, Coach B has several products that you can go check out. So check her out. Yeah. Anything else you ladies want to? Oh, goals don't have to be all or nothing, right? Like that goes along with the milestones. Like it doesn't have to be like pass or fail or you missed it. Like if you set some things in between, you can say like, well, I did 7 of these 10 things this year, and it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Okay. And if you want to ease into the new year like me, where maybe you don't have hard, fast, strong goals quite yet, and you're kind of navigating them and putting them together, that's okay too. Right.
And it's also okay to not have any goals at all.
Maybe you're content with where you at, like the Coach Malika. She's kind of coasting and cruising
Malika
right
has
now.
checked everything off of her box, her to-do, her goal.
Right now, right? It's okay.
It's okay to take your foot off the gas. It's okay. Yes.
But if
you enjoyed this video, if you have learned something, if anything that one of us shared helped you out, hit the like button wherever you are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Hit that like button and feel free to share the video with anyone in your community, in your family, in your life that is creating goals for 2024. And they just want to see some beautiful Black women talk about goals. And they want to laugh with us because I've been rolling over the same goal for 5 years now.
This your year, Coach Malika.
This is going to be my year, y'all, because I'm going to get some help.
Right. All right. So join us next month on the second Monday of the month. I don't even know what that date is. Do y'all have that? Second Monday at 7:00 Eastern time.
Pull that up right now. Second Monday is looking real.
It's
the 12th-ish.
February 12th.
The 12th. We'll be back on the 12th with you guys again.
Mark your calendar.
Mark your calendar now.
It's only once a month that you get these 4 coaches for free.
For the free 99. Oh, one other thing, ladies, did you want to talk about the name change and why we're changing the name?
Yes. Well,
what happened was
it turns out Melanated Money is already a brand. And because we know Melanated stands for us, we know it's a Black brand, and we definitely have to trample on somebody else's brand. It's certainly not a Black brand. So we want to make sure we honor the integrity of the time that they have spent building up their brand, and we don't want to confuse their audience with our audience. So we are going to have to change it from Melanated Money Monday to something else. So I would like you guys to tell us, what should we call ourselves? What should we call the show? What should we call ourselves? And you guys can continue if you're watching this in replay. First of all, say replay because we want to know who came back. And tell us what your ideas are for the show names. And maybe one of them is going to be a hit.
I feel like the community gives the best names.
I know.
Someone in my community called me the Minister of Money. and she also called me, because I always talk about making money babies with investing. She called me the midwife of money babies.
The money midwife, girl, you need to trademark that.
I think I'm using
it. The money midwife.
Community has the best ideas.
Give us your creative ideas. We want them.
Yeah, you're gonna be attracting doulas and all kinds of
as long as they're ready to invest. Come on over, sis.
Did you say dollar doula? Did you say dollar doula?
No, I said she's gonna be attracting doulas.
Oh, I like dollar doulas.
Dollar doulas work too. We need a name for the 4 of us on here, Black women talking about money and talking about it from a very conversational place. We want to be able to show it for y'all. We want y'all to have a fun place, a relatable place to talk about money, not no boring stuffy.
Right. Money should be fun. Money should be funny. Shouldn't be all tight. Look, y'all will never see me in a suit again. Y'all will never see me in a button up. I know people like, she a money coach dressed like that.
My brand is in hoodies.
I might wear a muumuu the next time you see me. No matter what I look like.
So comfortable.
Exactly. No matter what I look like, I can teach you how to build wealth. I can say that much. So let's make money fun. And I look forward to seeing you all next month.
All
right, ladies. Bye for now.